This is NBC6 News Now.
The government shutdown, lawmakers failing to reach an agreement on spending. What's next and what this could mean for you and the rest of the country. And the Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill out for the season after getting seriously injured on the field. The latest from the hospital and what experts are saying about his injury. And in Broward County, cell phones are banned at every level now thanks to a new law, and now they're off limits to students in elementary and middle school statewide. How do teachers feel about this and what they told us in their teacher survey? Hi, South Florida. Thanks for watching NBC6 News Now. I'm Constance Jones. Let's begin things off with a look at the forecast. We had a dry day yesterday. Well, we have a repeat today. Meteorologist Adam Berg has the details.
We'll have a repeat for a part of the day. And then it does look like showers and thunderstorms back in play this afternoon. We have Imelda, Umberto out here. No direct impact as far as, wind, rain, that sort of thing. However, these systems have generated quite a bit of wave action out there, and because of that, rip current risk running high, small craft advisory, all because of what's already been generated, not because we're tracking strong winds here. All right, let's get to the tropics. I know everybody wants to know what's happening here. 80-mile-per-hour hurricane Umberto, but look at how ragged all of the thunderstorms are, the convection, really hard to find the center. Looking at this is a sign of a weakening system for sure. Moving to the northeast at 14. We probably won't be writing too many more advisories on this one here as it continues to weaken as it pushes east. Now, Imelda, which sits to the south and west of Bermuda, and by the way, Bermuda could see some impacts here. This system actually intensifying. So it's moving in a different direction as its forward speed is pretty fast at 20 miles per hour. So that is going to take it to or very, very near Bermuda overnight tonight into the wee hours of the morning tomorrow. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the alerts that are ongoing here. We have hurricane warnings out for Bermuda, and that means hurricane conditions likely within 24 hours and maybe even a little sooner, because when you pause here Thursday morning, our system already pushing past Bermuda. So conditions will continue to go downhill as Imelda gets a little bit closer, and this could be a pretty strong hurricane here, maybe a strong 2, you never know. As this system is expected to intensify over the short term, sometimes these things can really do that and get quite strong. So we'll watch this closely. But the overall trend will then be for the system to weaken as it pushes to the north and east. And then hopefully we'll catch a break, right? Look, it's been a relatively manageable tropical season. Getting busy here over the last few weeks. Hopefully we'll bring it back down again. What about rain chances? Well, they were up, then they were down yesterday, and now we're kind of moving it back up again as we go over the next several days as deeper moisture starts to work back in. Okay, winds are not strong. I was mentioning this a moment ago. Winds are not strong today. However, when you have hurricanes that are not too far away from us, it will generate some wave action and some strong rip currents. And we've got that high risk of rip currents here up and down the East Coast, guys, until maybe halfway through the weekend. So these are going to linger for a bit. Seas up to about 9 feet or so today. Small craft advisory, Miami-Dade, Broward coastline. And we're talking about these remaining in effect until Friday evening. It's only Wednesday, right? So it takes a while for things to calm down. Now, I mentioned the showers and thunderstorms making a comeback, so a dry start to the day. We get into the afternoon, boom, you can see the thunderstorms firing up again. What's causing this? Well, all this deep moisture to the east of us starts to kind of work back in. Dark green means very unstable air. We've got it later today, Thursday, Friday into Saturday. You see that green just not moving. So Constance, that means those rain chances go up and then they stay elevated. One benefit, I guess, is not as hot, highs in the 80s.
All right, Adam, thank you. Now to our top stories this morning. A government shutdown is officially underway. Democrats and Republicans have failed to reach a deal to fund the government as the clock struck midnight. NBC6's Julia Bagg has the very latest.
The federal government plays a major role at airports around the country, including here at Miami International Airport. And so you can expect to see TSA officers still on the job, but possibly without a paycheck and delays for travelers.
The federal government officially shutting down at midnight after Congress and the White House failed to reach an agreement on extending federal funding. Money for health care, tax credits, and medical insurance, all part of the stalemate.
We need help.
One South Florida insurance agent told us his clients will suffer.
They're basically 4.2 million people will not be able to afford health insurance.
In South Florida, some federal employees, like TSA agents, could work and not get paid. The shutdown disrupts passport services and small business loan programs. National parks in South Florida could close. However, federal workers at the National Hurricane Center and the National Weather Service will remain on the job.
This is the first government shutdown where the federal government is going to try to permanently fire the workers.
Here's what President Trump had to say about potential mass firings.
We made you a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats.
South Florida Republican Congressman Carlos Jimenez noted his party passed a funding bill, a continuing resolution, or CR, that would keep the government open.
That CR is something that the Democrats voted for 13 times during the Biden administration, clean CRs. We joined them. I guess they want to make some kind of political statement now.
Democrats are holding out to reverse health care cuts and extend Obamacare subsidies set to expire at the end of the year.
In my district alone, 203,000 people will see their health care costs skyrocket if we don't extend those premium tax credits. 82,000 people will lose their health care entirely.
So let's say you don't work for TSA. Well, one expert telling us for the average American, you're not likely to see the impacts of the shutdown this morning, but if it drags on for days, you could start to feel the effects. At MIA, Julia Begg, NBC6 News.
Julia, thank you so much for that update. Dolphins player Tyreek Hill on the road to recovery continues this morning after he dislocated his knee against the Jets. This happened Monday night during that football game. He posted a video on social media appearing to be in good spirits before going into surgery yesterday. The surgery was performed to repair a dislocated left knee, also some work to his ACL. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel gave credit to the team's medical staff for quickly attending to his injury.
There was some competitive greatness from our doctors, for critical execution in a very timely fashion that did very well for the injury for him.
Well, Hill's agent told ESPN the wide receiver won't require any additional surgery. The Dolphins will look for their second win of the season Sunday on the road against the Carolina Panthers. Coming up in our next half hour, we're going to hear from a surgeon to find out what recovery for an injury like this looks like. Well, the state of Florida executed a man for a deadly double stabbing that happened nearly 35 years ago in South Florida. Victor Tony Jones died of lethal injection at a Florida state prison. In December of 1990, he was a new employee at a Miami-Dade business when he stabbed and killed the owners. Police found Jones at the scene of the crime with the couple's money in his pockets. We heard from the victim's daughter, who described the day that she found out that her parents were murdered.
He said something happened. I said, Daddy had a heart attack, right? He said, no, they both were killed.
The Death Penalty Information Center says that Florida now leads the nation in executions this year with 13 so far. Florida is the only state where just 8 of 12 jurors are needed to recommend the death penalty. Well, this morning, a man accused of making a bomb threat at a church is now facing several charges. Isaac Lopez was arrested Monday, a day after he attended Sunday service at St. Andrew Greek Orthodox Church near Dadeland Mall. According to the arrest report, Lopez was acting suspiciously when an usher asked him for his bag. That's when investigators say Lopez claimed he had a bomb. Lopez is charged with making a false bomb report. The church later sent a letter to the congregation stressing that no parishioners were injured and that the church would review its safety protocols. More than 70 people on a Royal Caribbean cruise have gotten sick from the norovirus before making its last stop here in Miami. The CDC says the outbreak is on the Serenade of the Seas, which departed from San Diego on September 19th and is scheduled to arrive in Miami tomorrow. The CDC reported 71 passengers and 1 crew member got sick in response to the outbreak. The crew is increasing cleaning and disinfecting of the ship and isolating the sick passengers and that crew member. Florida officials have decided to set aside nearly 3 acres of prime downtown real estate in Miami for the site of the new presidential library. For President Donald Trump, the land once was used as a parking lot for Miami-Dade College, just a few feet away from the historic Freedom Tower. It is now appraised at roughly $66 million. Governor Ron DeSantis and the Florida cabinet agreed that this will help provide an economic boost and development for the area, marking Florida as the first state to host a Trump library. Well, the results of our annual teacher survey are in, and all this week we're reporting on those findings. Today we take a closer look at nearly 1,400 teachers and what they had to say about cell phones and social media policies in Broward and Miami-Dade public schools. Education on 6 reporter Ari Otzer joins us with more.
In Broward County, cell phones are banned from bell to bell at every level. And thanks to a new law,
what symbol?
They are also off limits to students in elementary and middle schools statewide.
I don't know about other states, but in Florida, you guys cannot have your phones.
Eloy Padula teaches at a Miami-Dade middle school and strongly supports the cell phone ban.
There's a lot of studies out that show that kids' concentration spans are going down every year, and for sure that has to be related to technology and social media.
Our survey shows 90% of teachers support banning cell phones in the younger grades.
I think phones have been the downfall of our teenage minds. Social media, oh, don't get me started.
Wendy Fasciana teaches at Western High School.
Social media is just such a bad influence, and I see it. The bullying, the cyberbullying.
93% of teachers in our survey are concerned about the impact of social media on mental health. Angie Luna teaches at Aventura Waterways K-8 Center.
It can be a tool for good, and it can also be a tool used for evil. And we've seen all sides of that. Would that get us our first 2 points?
Ever since Broward's near total cell phone ban last year, high school teachers have noticed the biggest impacts. LaDonna Van Buren teaches at Cypress Bay.
Kids are talking to each other now because they don't have phones, right? They're talking to the person next to them. They're doing group work and they're engaging in discussion. It's a good thing.
Ari Otzer, NBC6 News.
Well, tonight we continue to share the results from our annual teacher survey.
They're just not replacing the teachers that are leaving.
Well, staff shortages and a drop in enrollment are growing concerns for teachers across South Florida. NBC6 education reporter Ari Otzer, he's going to be back to break down the results of that teacher survey for us at 6 p.m. on NBC6 and wherever you stream. Well, today there's going to be a big job fair at Miami-Dade College's North Campus. It's going to feature over 40 employers, ranging from government jobs to hospitality roles. It all starts at 11 o'clock this morning. Thank you for watching NBC6 News Now. I'm Constance Jones.
Every day, NBC6 is on your side. It's why we're South Florida's only TV station with our own live Doppler radar, giving you a more precise look at